Welcome into the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, February 18th, and it's been quite a morning with this new record from Beach House entitled Once, Twice, Melody. This is the band's 8th studio album, and it follows their 2018 effort, Seven. And I know some of you, or even many of you, have probably listened to most of this record already. Gorgeous double album, divided into 4 chapters, and the duo of Victoria Legrand and Alex Scally chose to release this album by chapters. So they gave us the first back in November, and they've given us one every month since then. And today we get the final installment and we get this album in its entirety. And I tell you what, I held off and I'm really glad that I did. I think if you haven't listened to any of this record yet, it's really cool that you'll get to experience all 85 minutes of it. Just throw your headphones on, give yourself the time to just let yourself sing into this record, immerse yourself in the experience, because that's the type of music that Beach House makes. And this is arguably their best effort to date, really just doing so many things very well on this record. And I want to start with the double LP. Thank you, Beach House, for making a proper double LP. There's so many bands these days that are putting out albums that are like 60 minutes, 65 minutes. That's not a proper double LP. You just, gave us 20 extra minutes of a record, and because of vinyl format, we have to have that extra record now and pay for it to fit all of your albums. So I'm not a big fan of that. And more than anything, I've talked to a lot of people about that. I think that the unnecessary double LP can really disrupt the continuity of a record. And it's great to have all that art and that packaging, but to have all those breaks, and when you can listen to something, from start to finish in the digital format and see what those breaks do to that continuity, I got a lot of examples in the shelf where that really has a negative effect. So I'm glad to see that, again, a proper double LP. All sides of this record are going to have 23 minutes full of music, and it's beautiful. The other thing that I like about this double LP, and Pink Floyd The Wall comes to mind because, very high in concept, that album is meant to be listened to in a certain order. I mean, you even have the B and the C side on the same record, so you can just do a quick flip. There's a lot of double LPs that are set up that way, so you can listen to it in the proper order. I like the way this thing is divided up into the chapters and the way that you can just bounce around it. It's got great continuity altogether, but really, the chapters hold up very well on their own, and I think this project is very exceptional because of that. The thing that I love the most about Beach House, nuance. We talk about it on the channel a ton, but this band just has perfected it. And I've thrown these guys on for people, and they're like, it all sounds the same. And that's fine. It's not your cup of tea. I completely get that. But those people are ding-dongs, and they're wrong. And if they actually took the time to listen to all the different things that are going on in a Beach House song, they would probably change their mind. But, the band is just absolutely killing it. So many different elements from so many different periods of time, bands, genres that are influencing that signature sound of theirs that they've worked so hard to, I guess, perfect over the years. I really like the AC/DC comparison that I read, and it seems kind of ridiculous on the surface. But what the person argued is that it seems like with every album, you're ostensibly kind of getting the same thing, but you can see the band growing creatively. You can see them becoming better songwriters. You can see them incorporate new and different elements, experiment with, maybe old sounds that they're trying new things with. There's all these, again, nuances that affect their sound, that drive their melodies, that it really warrants the time, again, to throw on the headphones and to just sink in and listen to this band. Some of my favorite things that I heard, though, especially in the electro kind of poppy percussion, a lot of the synths too, heard a lot of Talking Heads, heard a lot of Disintegration era Cure, really enjoyed that about this record. There's oftentimes where Alex is working with his acoustic guitar, and a lot of that sounds like what Billy Corrigan and James Iha were doing on Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness on some of those slower tracks. And so I really liked that element of it. But you listen to all these songs, and there's all these different things that come up, so many different things driving the sound and the heart and soul of this record. So let's just jump into the tracks because there's 18 of them to talk about. This is kind of a long one today. Once, Twice, Melody is your opening track. Atmospheric. It's got this classic pop sound, and I tell you what, the string arrangements that run throughout this record are absolutely gorgeous. They are incredibly well done. Kudos to Victoria and Alex for the string arrangements that they put together for this record. And then this opening song, it kind of has this bossa nova feel to it a little bit. It's got this urgent synth as well, very unique, as is all of their stuff. Superstar is your second song, up-tempo. This song just builds incredibly. Like, I love the guitars. This thing feels like stepping into a dream. If a song could do that, this is the song to do it, and I love it. Pink Funeral is your third song, gloomy with bright melodies. It's got these swimming harps that I really love in the song, and just this driving hi-hat. And very interesting. It could be a synth. It sounds like a hi-hat, but it definitely has this percussive purpose to it that I really loved about the song. Through Me is just love the beat on this song. It really reminded me of Brilliant Disguise by Bruce Springsteen. It's got this kind of just the tone of the percussion on that track. I love the rock and the coda is amazing. The coda is excellent on this song, and this whole first part, it kind of has this hip hop influence. It's very subtle. It doesn't sound like hip hop, but you can definitely feel, just very, very deep there underneath the surface. There's a little bit of hip hop driving the sound of this first part of the record, and I dug that about it. Your fifth song, the first track on the second part, is Runaway. It's got this 80s disco feel. It's very interesting. Percussion has this spacey pop synth. That's where that Talking Heads feel kind of comes in. And then there's moments where standard drumming comes in, and it comes in hard, and I really like the way that they navigated that. ESP is your next song, chill change of pace. The most of the record really kind of had an upbeat feel to it, despite its ambience up to this point. ESP kind of pulls things back a little bit, and then you get New Romance, returns the pace, very bright song. Really like the poppy element on that. And then Over and Over basically ends like the first half of this record, and I love the groove. It's got a great breakdown, big 7-minute track. Really a nice way to, put a stopping point on the first half of this record, excuse me. And then the second half opens up with Sunset. It's got this chamber pop feel to it, great acoustic guitar. Really dug that song a lot. Only You Know is your second song. Solid ambient rock track. I really like the balance there. I mean, this really feels like a good indie rock track, but it's got that beach house ambience. That's just a great combination, great dynamic there. Another Go Around, your third song on that C side. Simple bass riff driving this track. I like the light synth. And honestly, this track kind of reminded me of Elliott Smith a little bit. You talk about all those fun different things that you can hear. That was another example right there. Masquerade, your fourth song. One of my favorite tracks on the record. I like the tone and the groove of this song. It's just got these gloomy synths, as do a handful of songs on this record. Really kind of gothic in that regard, but this is one of my favorite songs. I really just like the tone and the groove and the way this song carries itself. Illusion of Forever is your last song on that C side. Just rides this bright synth, and Victoria's vocals are just as bright to match that synth on that song. And then finally, we get Finale to start the D side of this thing. Rolling electronic percussion reminded me of The Cure, a lot of that kind of Disintegration era stuff. The Bells, your second song there, really. So I've heard comparisons of Victoria to Nico, and this is really where I heard her voice sound a lot like Nico's. And you definitely get kind of a Velvet Underground feel in the song. It's a bit of a slide guitar, it could be steel pedal lap guitar, kind of like a gentle country vibe to it as well. But I would also argue that I think Victoria Legrand is much more talented than Nico. I'm just going to throw that out there. I might get a lot of shit for that, pardon my French, but I think she's incredible. She's obviously made a lot more music and didn't have the drug habit. Many Nights is your penultimate track. I love the way the crescendo just creeps up on you in this track. It catches you off guard, but great string arrangements in this song, and I really love the way it leads into Modern Love Stories. Your final song, more of those just excellent gothic synths that have been just scattered throughout this record. I love it. Lush strings. The coda on this song is great. It's a marvelous way to wrap up what is their best effort. This record is just extraordinary. I'm really pleased with it, very impressed by it. And obviously, we're going to give a vinyl please. This is definitely worth the money and definitely worth the time, and I really hope you enjoy this record. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.